one of the better things is when you get to see the back end of legislation that you have impacted. For example, there was a drought in 1999, and farmers who had access to water obviously did better than those who did not. And I was talking to farmers and said, why haven't you built more ponds? And they said, we actually have trouble getting building of a pond approved. And so we worked with the USDA to get a pond building program done. 243 ponds were built as a consequence of that, and taking a tour to just see these little farm ponds that we know would not have existed without our impact on it. Stuff like that's fun. Or, you know, Tybee beach renourishment, or you know, the dissolution of a program. When I was elected, every single day in your congressional office they would deliver ice, a bucket of ice, so that you could cool your drinks with them. Even though every office had a refrigerator, this was a vestige of times past. They would bring a little blue or a green bucket to your office, and here's a congressional ice program, $375,000. You know, and in the scheme of trillions or billions, not that much, but you know, eliminating something like that's so important. We took on the Capitol Hill Police because at one time they wanted to have a mounted horse patrol, but there was no justification for it whatsoever. Took a while, but we got that killed. You know, working on stuff like welfare reform and getting that done in the 1996 Congress, part of the Contract with America. Very important. Great moments of satisfaction. Going to see our troops. If you want to see America's finest, generally you're going to find them in the uniform. I've been to the demilitarized zone, North and South Korea border. Been to Djibouti, which is not exactly the assignment any soldier, it's actually a Marine base, but anybody really wants to go to. Yemen, certainly Afghanistan and Iraq, and to some of the forward operating bases there, to see such patriotic professional young men and women in uniform defending their country, and then talking to them and finding out, why are you here? What a great moment. Also, I had an opportunity to put a medal on a survivor of the Bataan Death March. Got to know a guy who was at Iwo Jima, another soldier who was there for the invasion on D-Day, who stormed up the beaches in Normandy and took out a German bunker. And to have the opportunity to interact with such real live heroes, just a great thing. And you know, certainly some of the crazy, wacky casework that we do, some of the things that happen are the invitations that you get. You know, being a member of Congress is very interesting, a lot of hard work, but also a lot of fun. I would be conning you if I told you it wasn't. There have been cases that are just crazy. One time, somebody put a goat into the U.S. Post Office in downtown Savannah, Georgia. Well, they did not know who to call. They called Animal Patrol, and Animal Patrol said, you know, we're county, that's federal property, we don't have jurisdiction over it. They went through 2 or 3 different phone calls like that, and finally they called our office and said, we got a goat, a live goat in the post office on Farm Street, what can we do about it? And we were able to get the goat resolved. There have been cases, other cases where a bat colony took residence in somebody's house in Baxley, Georgia, and we wanted to have the bats removed. Well, it turned out it was an endangered species, the Mexican swallow-tailed bat, and we had to go through all kinds of obstacles with Fish and Wildlife to get these bats removed. Another time, I think it was in Douglas, Georgia, a guy in the alligator business had domestic alligators that they were using for hides, and they got wind of some wild alligators that lived near them, and so these alligators tore down the fence so the little alligator boys that were domestic could meet the little alligator girls that were wild, and DNR had to get involved in that, wanted all of the alligators destroyed. We had to become involved, and there have been things. At one time I was actually at home on a Saturday cleaning my garage, and a desperate call came in from the Savannah historic folks and said, hey, they found a torpedo in the river, Savannah, dredging it. Now, you know, when we think of torpedo, we think about the traditional torpedo being launched from a submarine, but the expression, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, torpedoes were actually landmine or water mines that kind of were on a finger, like a fan-shaped finger that went in the water so that when the ships came up, it would blow up. It was a mine. And there are only 6 left in the world of authentic torpedoes of the nature that was found in the Savannah River. But since it was explosive ordnance, the bomb squad at Fort Stewart was called, and they said the only thing we can do is blow up this torpedo. Well, the historic people were going crazy. You can't do that. So, one of 6 left in the world, and this thing goes back to the Civil War. It had been used to mine the Savannah River to keep the federal ships out of it. Well, I got on the phone, and we made many phone calls, and finally, got the thing saved. It was not explosive anymore, but now it's in the 3rd Infantry Museum at Fort Stewart, and people can see it. And so, things like that are examples of casework. Keeps your life interesting and gives you a great sense of satisfaction.